Hi everyone, and welcome to A Stitch in Time. Today is Wednesday, October 20th, 2021, and this is episode 198. My name is Carol. I can be found on Ravelry as Knits and Pearls, and I am coming to you from the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, Canada, not too far from Vancouver. Hope you've all had a good week. I have been doing a lot of knitting. And as you may have already deduced, the West Knits Mystery Knit Along is going to feature prominently in this week's episode. And unlike last week, I plan to talk pretty specifically about several parts of Clue 2. But don't worry, I will give you plenty of notice so that I don't spoil you. And I'm even going to try and figure out the whole timestamp thing. But if not, I will be sure to put a time on the screen where you can safely skip ahead to if you don't want to be spoiled. But before I get into that, I do have one other project I've been working on this week, and that is my Purple Finch socks, knit out of this colorway of Fiber Nymph Dye Works Mountain Tweed BFL. So it's the Purple Finch colorway, and it was part of the Backyard Birdwatchers Club. So you received this striped main skein and then this variegated mini skein to use for heels and toes. So these are coming along pretty well, actually. I don't have too far to go before it'll be time to put the toes in. So I am knitting them concurrently. Looks like this one has one more stripe than this one. But they're pretty close in the amount that's been done, and as you can see, I'm getting pretty close to the end of the foot here. So this is my usual 64 stitch top down sock on a 2mm needle, and I use the contrasting or coordinating color to do a traditional heel flap and gusset. And yeah, not a lot more to say about these except that I am knitting these for the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Nature Make Along. The theme of the fourth and final quarter is sky, and so of course birds fly in the sky. And I'm going to mix things up a little bit and go ahead and show you my one and only acquisition this week, because it is a prize for taking part in that Nature Mel. And I got this lovely set of inversibles from Fiber Nymph Dye Works. This is on the bounce base, and it is the Goth Purple and Harvest Moon colorway. So I know last week I talked about using my Apple Turnovers colorway possibly for my next project for the Nature Mel, but considering that this is a prize from the Make Along and considering that one of the colorways is Harvest Moon, I thought this might be a more suitable yarn to cast on next. So soon as I'm finished the Purple Finch socks, these will be going on the needles. And if you are not familiar with Lisa's inversible sets, you can see already there's two skeins, and they are basically the reverse of each other. And I have a pair of socks that I've knit from one of the sets in the past. So this gives you an idea of how they will knit up. So kind of fun. Make a pair of fraternal socks. Not identical, but they definitely go together. So looking forward to knitting up that yarn. Okay, here we go. If you don't want to see anything at all, including the yarns, skip ahead to the timestamp here on the bottom. Otherwise, I'll warn you when I'm about to show the real shawl and talk about it. First, I will show you the yarns. So this shawl takes 5 colors of yarn. And as I mentioned last week, my first 3 colors that I chose, I bought together as a set from Midknit Cravings Yarn Company. So here's their label. This is the light sock, which is an 85% superwash merino and a 15% nylon blend. And this color is Sidewalk. It's quite a silvery gray. It's getting a little bit blown out, but quite a pale gray. This is Casual Friday, and it's a darker gray with specks of navy. And then this is Twilight, which, as you can see, is navy, but it's a tonal navy. So those three came together. So I started out with those as my neutrals. And then I added this beautiful bright purple from Black Cat Custom Yarn. This is the luxury sock in the epic purple colorway, and this is 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, and 10% nylon. So you can tell I like this color. And by the way, what I am wearing is So Faded by Andrea Mowry. This continues to be one of my favorite sweaters that I've ever knit. It's using 3 colors of, I think it was I am blanking on the name. I'll write it down here, and you can always go to my project page and check it out. So you can see on my sleeve, it's a progression from this purpley blue through this purple to this bluey purple. So anyway, back to the shawl. My other color that I chose, or other yarn that I chose, was this lace weight yarn from Miss Babs. It is called Isadora lace yarn in the Abrazo colorway. And this is actually a wool silk blend. It's 70% merino wool, 30% tussa silk. And I'm holding this double. So beautiful, beautiful colors here. Love them. So just once again, show you all 5 together. There you go. Okay. Right now, I'm going to start talking about the shawl in great detail and showing it. And so again, skip ahead to this timestamp if you do not want to see any more spoilers. Okay, fair warning. Here we go. All right. Here it is. This is the completed Clue 2. I finished it up this morning. And I have to say the last part of Clue 2 was quite a slog. So the shawl started out, Clue 1, this little beginning section here, and then you did this short row section incorporating all of the colors. And then this really fun slip stitch V section here. And then Clue 1 ended with these I-cord loops. And they were left hanging, and you didn't know what was going to happen with them the next week. So what happened the next week is that you ended up forming these holes. And then you went on to this slip stitch stripe section. And then you did this really interesting welt section. And I have to say, I started out okay with that, and I was a little ways along, and I realized that I had forgotten to do this long stitch here to separate it into a little, I don't know, what do you call these, lozenge? I think I heard someone call them a lozenge. And I'd gotten one stitch off, and I was laddering down stitches as I went, as you were supposed to in this part here. And then I realized I was laddering down the wrong stitch. So I had to pick back, and thankfully this wool silk blend is pretty sticky, And I was able to very easily ladder back up the sections that I had to with the crochet hook, and then go back to where I'd made my mistake and then reknit it. So it all worked out fine, but I was panicking there for a little bit, not to mention cursing and swearing a little bit. So then we carried on with this triangle section here with some more slipped stitches. And then I, for some reason, thought that this bobble row was the end of clue 2. So I was feeling pretty good about that. I think it was Monday morning when I sat down and did that. And then I happened to tune into somebody else's podcast and noticed this section. Well, what I had done, I printed out my pattern, and I had just gotten to the end of page 3, and I had flipped it around to see that there was more to clue 2. So I picked it back up and started working these short row stripes. And it took a long time. And I got to the end of the first section, and I was supposed to have 4 stitches left on my needle, and I only had 3. And I could not figure out where I'd gone wrong. And so I ended up just increasing a stitch right at the end, so to make it work. And then, of course, I had to do the other side. So we are left with these wings along with some middle stitches that are still on the needles. So I don't know what's coming next. It's been a hoot to work on this, other than that last part of clue 2. That really was a slog. There's no other word for it. And in fact, my forearm here is kind of achy. I can really feel the muscles, and I think that's at least in part from knitting a lot during the last few days. Might also have to do with doing some yard work and working the clippers and stuff, but I think the majority of what I'm feeling is overwork from knitting so much. So it's been really fun, and it's been fun to try out some different techniques, and it's been fun to see how all the colors play together, and kind of fun to work up these unconventional features like the I-cord loops and these lozenges. I have to say now I'm a little bit concerned, curious to see where it goes next. I was thinking we were doing just a sort of a half circular shawl, and even though the stitches and colors were kind of playing a lot, it was a little bit funky. I was thinking we were just going to keep going on as a half circular shawl. Now I'm not so sure, and I don't know if I'm ready for the next clue. Interestingly, last night I was showing my husband, and he said to me, "So are you going to wear it?" And I had to say, honestly, I don't know. But this project is not really about the wearability. All along, I've gone into this just thinking that I'm going to have fun. And I don't wear big shawls like this outside the house anyway. So I would certainly pick this and wrap up in it on a cool day or evening. So yes, I think I will wear it. I do love the color combinations, and one thing I'm really happy with is the way that my colors worked out. I have a lot of contrast where I need it. So he did suggest either your darkest or lightest color for this part of section 1. So the navy definitely contrasts well, plays well with all the other colors. And then here, this lighter color, was set off well, especially against this blue and this purple. And then this section, those two colors contrasted really well. And then in this section, these two colors contrasted well. And then in this section, these two colors contrasted well. You can see the speckles in that darker gray yarn. So I am pleased, and then here too, the baubles really stand out. So I'm really happy with how my color choices are working out, because there is a lot of contrast in all of these sections. Yeah, it'll just be really interesting to see what clue 3 holds. And I guess there's probably going to be just as much knitting, and we'll see if I can keep up. Because honestly, other than those socks a little bit, I have knit on nothing else, and I've been sort of knitting every spare minute I have. So today's Wednesday, it's afternoon, so that does give me part of today and tomorrow to work on something else before clue 3 comes out. But yeah, I'm not getting a lot of other knitting done, that's for sure. But it's an adventure, and it's been fun. I know a lot of you are knitting it too. Are you enjoying it? How do you like how yours is turning out? Do you think you'll keep on after clue 2, or has those sort of wings turned you off? I'd love to know. Just give me your feedback. Okay, so yeah, that is it for the knitting. Welcome back if you have come back for what's been going on in my life this week. The knitting is all finished. So Cameron came home Friday night, and he's still here, at least for the rest of this week. I suspect he might be heading out of town again early next week, but he's here for now, and it's really nice to have him home. We just had a really lovely, lazy Saturday. We didn't run any errands. We didn't do very much in the way of odd jobs. Most of the day we just chilled. I did a lot of knitting on my shawl. He did a lot of reading, and I think we both had a little snooze at some point during the day. I know I was upstairs here while he was downstairs watching some TV, and I'm pretty sure he nodded off, and I also kind of curled up on the couch for half an hour or so. Trying to remember, I think it was raining. Yeah, it was raining part of that day, so it was a good day to be inside and nice and cozy. So the next day, we had discussed the night before that maybe we would go out for breakfast, and then it was his idea to see if the grandkids wanted to come. So our older granddaughter was out of town visiting her mom, but the younger two were around, and so we picked them up and went out for brunch with them. My grandson, we had taken him to this restaurant when he stayed with us this summer, and he loves his pancakes, and so he was determined to have pancakes. So they are huge. So we ended up ordering the pancakes, and his younger sister had one, and he had the others, and he could not have eaten all 3 himself, despite his good intentions. They also had some hash browns to go along with it, and we had nice, just breakfast stuff. So we enjoyed that, and then had a little visit with Jess and Neil when we dropped them off. But we had to go get groceries, and then we had some outside work we wanted to get done. So we ended up, I wanted to clean all the bird feeders and get them all set up for winter. We have them up all year round, but I'd let them kind of go empty and for the most part, and I really wanted to give them a good scrub before I refilled them. And so I did that, and then you know how one thing leads to another, so I thought, oh, I should wash out the fountain and get that put away for the year. And then I started cleaning off the concrete uh, patio area because it had leaves and dirt all over it and some rust spots from this swing that we have. So we put some of the outdoor furniture away, scrubbed off various parts of that and the wooden deck. And yeah, it just took a little while, but felt so good when it was done. It's some jobs that I've been wanting to do for a while. And then I carried over and did some more yard work yesterday, cleaning up some of the gardens, trimming some shrubs, and um, getting rid of some annuals that have kind of seen their best days. And yeah, just generally starting to tidy up for winter. Emptying our shed had these window boxes. I emptied those out, cut back the rhubarb, things like that. So we had a really nice sunny day yesterday. It was perfect weather for it. Today's raining. It's supposed to, I think, tomorrow just be overcast. So I have one more garden that I want to get into in the front yard and weed it and just kind of go through. A lot of the plants are just still doing fine, and the ones that are still good I'm leaving out because I know the hummingbirds and bees are still feeding off them, so I don't want to pull any of those too soon. So as long as they look decent and are blossoming, I'm going to leave those, even if some of them maybe look a little out of season now. I don't care. So yeah, that felt good to get that done. And when we had gotten groceries on Sunday, they had roasts on sale, so I had decided to cook a roast. That's one thing with Cameron being away so much. Haven't been able to eat sort of, you know, certain kinds of dinners. We've had a lot of casseroles in the last number of months because they're easy to prepare and portion out and send some with him and keep some here. So it's nice to have some, meat, potatoes, vegetable types of meals again, or anything that you kind of make in a bigger quantity. So as kind of a last minute thing, we thought we'd see if our younger son and our older son and his wife were free for dinner. And as it turned out, our older son's not feeling or wasn't feeling well, so they didn't come, but our younger son came. We got him to make the Yorkshire pudding because he excels at it. And once again, they came out beautifully, and the three of us enjoyed roast beef. So that was a nice way to end the weekend. So yeah, this week's just been kind of a regular week. Cameron's back to work. Like I said, I've been doing some jobs around the house and trying to get this shawl clue 2 done. So I'm happy to have achieved that this morning. And that is about it. My something good for this week is seeing the birds back at the feeders in good numbers, and waking up and hearing them outside sometimes, and just looking out and watching them. I love to watch the pecking order happen. The white-crowned sparrows are back, as are the juncos. Juncos are one of my favorite birds. They're only here sort of from the fall to the spring, and then they disappear for the summer. Actually see them up at the cabin in the summertime. I always like to think maybe they're the same ones that are here in the wintertime, although I'm sure that's unlikely. It was very funny. We were sitting out there the other night, and I could hear a bird, and I couldn't identify it. And so yesterday I thought, I should try and figure out what bird I'm hearing. And so I found an app with some bird calls, and it's specific to your area for the time of year. So it's going down the list, and it turned out it was a song sparrow that I'm hearing, and I've definitely been seeing them. So that made a lot of sense. But they used to call them the Oregon Juncos. Now I think it's the dark-eyed Junco, I think is their official name. So it was on the list and I just pressed play. And I'm sitting on the back stairs and not even thinking about it, but all of a sudden I hear this Junko answering, and next thing I know, it's basically right in front of me, and I'm pretty sure it was a male because the male's heads are darker than the female, and it was quite large, and started making a different call too, which I suspect is maybe a territorial call or a dominance call. Anyway, I shut it off pretty quickly. I didn't want to confuse the poor thing, but it was like, wow, obviously that call is very authentic because I heard it right back and then heard this other one when it appeared. So it was just kind of funny. Anyway, that's it for this week. I will do my best to have clue 3 done by this time next week, but no promises there. We are going to my cousin's place for dinner on Saturday, and I am making a couple of things to take with me. So I think a good part of my Saturday is going to be used up probably between grocery shopping and cooking and then going out. So we have to leave kind of not mid-afternoon, but not late afternoon. Kind of, we'll probably have to leave here by just after 3:30. So yeah, we'll see how much knitting time I get this coming week. It isn't a race. You're supposed to go at your own pace. I think that's one of Stephen West's kind of taglines. And what is it? Don't stress, just say yes, or something like that. I quite enjoy his videos that go along with this mystery Cal. So I'm trying to take that attitude, but the truth is I would like to try and finish this sort of within the time frame, because I do know with November coming up and getting closer to Christmas, I'm sure I'll be knitting some gifts, and I know the Advent season is going to start and I will be doing an Advent project during then. So yeah, I don't want to have it drag out too long. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for all your comments. I always love hearing from you. So have yourselves a good week, and I hope to be back with you next Wednesday. So we'll see how that goes. Look for an episode then. If not, surely by Thursday. But yeah, Wednesday is what I'm aiming for. So yeah, take care till then. See you soon. Bye.